It is my great honor to be with you here tonight and accept the M100 Media Award on behalf of Alexei Navalny and the Anti-Corruption Foundation. Frankly, these days there are quite a few similar ceremonies being held to mark Alexei Navalny's courage and achievements. I just came from Warsaw this morning, where yesterday they awarded Alexei Navalny with a Knight of Freedom distinction. The prize was a sword, and I only travel with cabin luggage. A good thing to defeat Putin, probably, when you come close to him. All of this is, of course, by all means, well deserved by Alexei. Since August 2020, his story became well known to the world, as it has demonstrated how real life, even during the COVID times, could be more thrilling than any Netflix showrunners could imagine. A story about him being poisoned and able to survive, the story about him investigating the murder attempt against himself and being able to identify the assassins, the story of his return to Russia after having produced a masterpiece investigation about Putin's enormous wealth, well, that definitely deserves to be appreciated. But still, this very award stands out, as it is of very special meaning for us, and I'd like to try to explain why. There are two basic reasons for that. First, the M100 Media Award, unlike others, is presented not only to Alexei Navalny, but, as it is written here, both to Alexei Navalny and to the Anti-Corruption Foundation that he founded back in 2011. So it puts a very important accent on the fact that Alexei Navalny was not and is not alone. He's not a lonely voice in an ocean of silence, like, for instance, the Soviet dissidents of the 60s were. Quite contrary, he is a man who managed to build a large political organization in a very innovative and creative manner, navigating Russia's bumpy media and political landscape. He used the internet, the social media, to reach out to people all across our huge country, to break the silence, to counter both the most blatant and outright lies, and to counter the soft power of the propaganda. And of course, he is a very courageous man, but courage alone would not be enough to bring us where we are now. It was hard work above all. The organization that I represent, the organization he's built, has proven to be a very capable one, an organization that persists even while he is in prison. In fact, this year, we produced more investigations, reached more viewers and readers than in any of all the previous years. Despite all those challenging circumstances, being pushed out of the country, being labeled extremists, just like Al-Qaeda, being accused of all possible sins. There are 7 criminal charges in Russia against myself. So in fact, there could be quite a reward, if just in case someone is interested. So despite all of the above, we continue to work with a lot of success due to the new media, which made it possible. So I'm very proud to accept the M100 Media Award, not only on Alexei's behalf, but on behalf of the whole team, which is several hundred young, mostly young, people not only in Moscow, but from all Russia's 11 time zones, from Kaliningrad to Vladivostok, who were campaigning for Alexei and with Alexei, who were running for local elections, supporting local activism in their cities, investigating their local thieves and crooks. They did it being inspired by Alexei Navalny, and they continue. We continue. We are not defeated. In fact, we are sure as never before that we will overcome this. And then there is a second important thing, which comes along with this award only. This is a press prize, awarded for journalism. Alexei Navalny is a politician who was running for mayor of Moscow and for president of Russia. Well, never did on the ballot, but still. He is a freedom fighter who was poisoned and jailed. He's a party leader who has built a strong political force, which just won over 100 seats in regional elections. But indeed, his main lifetime achievement, the Anti-Corruption Foundation, is first of all about investigative journalism. This is through this journalism, through written and spoken word, through telling stories, Alexei Navalny became who he is, Putin's main rival and enemy of the state #1. And he actually now shares the fate of so many journalists all over the world being prosecuted for telling the truth. The Russian state has also awarded us with many distinctions. Foreign agents, extremists, criminals. And, well, you know, after the Anti-Corruption Foundation was labeled an extremist organization in Russia, we had to formally dissolve it. Otherwise, our employees would risk up to 10 years in prison just for being our employees, receiving salary and paying taxes. So, technically, that part of the award, which consists of two parts, that goes to the Anti-Corruption Foundation is the posthumous one, a post-mortem one. Putin very much wanted both parts to become post-mortem. Luckily, he failed. Anti-Corruption Foundation, 2011-2021. So could the gravestone look like? But what else should be written on it? What is the foundation's most important legacy? I would say this legacy is that our organization has changed Russia through education and enlightenment, which is another so important, albeit often forgotten aspect of journalism. When we launched the foundation back in 2011, only around 15% of Russian voters, according to independent polls, considered corruption to be a major political issue. Now, 10 years later, and hundreds of millions of views of our videos later, this figure stands above 60%. So from 15 to 60, a truly tectonic change for the whole Russian society. It required patience. It required time and persistence. People often ask it, and they keep asking, why yet another investigation? Another palace, another luxury yacht, another private jet of another modest deputy prime minister, or deputy minister even. Wasn't it already enough? We already know they are all corrupt. What does a new investigation add? But it reaches new people, new audiences. And we carry it on. And we will continue, of course. And this changes the society in Russia. And there is one more very important thing that our investigations revealed. Over the course of these 10 years of our history, we have proven beyond reasonable doubt corruption is a human rights issue, probably the most vital of all of them. When the leadership of the country is totally corrupt, which is unfortunately the case in Russia, there is no choice for them but to rig the elections, as they just can't afford to get outvoted. There is no choice for them but to destroy the judicial system, as they just can't afford to be challenged in courts over their crimes. There is no choice for them but to beat down the protests, just like they do, as otherwise they would lose their ability to steal more money. And you know, children are growing and so on. And there is always a larger yacht. And there is no choice for them but to erase freedom of press and freedom of speech, as they just can't afford their corruption to be spoken about. All of this has happened in Russia, and this is happening in so many other countries all around the world. So the fight for the human rights should begin as a fight against corruption. This has been proven by Alexei Navalny and the Anti-Corruption Foundation. And that's why we feel it so important for us that our anti-corruption work is recognized in Europe. It is important for a very practical reason, as we continue our anti-corruption work, as the fight against corruption is a global fight, and we can't win this fight alone. As long as those people, Putin's friends, will be able to use stolen money to buy villas in Côte d'Azur, to build their yachts by Lawson in Bremen, to send their children to the best private schools in the UK, they will not stop. And unfortunately, this is a situation So if someone with a Russian passport wants to open a bank account somewhere in the EU, in Germany, millions of questions will be asked, and at the end of the day, there will be a refusal, because banks just don't want to do something with this and with some small amount of money. But if someone comes with 100 million euro in cash, the attitude becomes very much different. And there are always solutions and decisions and ways around, just like Pandora Papers very recently demonstrated. So this money of Putin and his friends, covered with blood and Novichok, that's all here, all around us, here in Europe. It's not only spent on luxury properties, but also on Western politicians. It is buying influence, and it is also buying media. So actually, we don't ask Europe to help us. We do ask Europe to help itself. Dirty money from Russia and countries alike spoil and rot the very foundations of the political system of the free society. It's just getting too dangerous. Europe has to help itself, but by doing so, of course, it will also help us a lot, making corruption in Russia less enjoyable and also becoming more of a role model for those within Russia who fight for change and for a better future for our country. We believe in European future for Russia. We consider this award to be a clear indication that we are on track to bring Russia back to Europe, where it belongs. It will require time, a lot of time, hard work, a lot of patience, but at the end of the day, we shall overcome. Thank you so much.